Hi, it's Lisa, Reinventing Indulgence, and I'm continuing on to probably do about 30 days of holistic health tips and ideas, suggestions during this quarantine lockdown time of ours. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about addiction, um, different kinds of addictions, because when we're in addiction, then we're pretty much not so much focused on other things that could be of more importance, like developing habits, keeping focused on goals in our lives, being present in the moment with ourselves and others, connecting to family and friends and to loved ones, things like that. Also to a higher power, to a power greater than ourselves, and that would be the more spiritual realm or religious if you are a religious person. So addiction, I once heard, is the opposite of connection. And, especially right now, there's a lot of people that have been eating and drinking a lot, even gambling online and things like that, and shopping. And I'm going to get into this in a minute, but right now, more than ever, like people, they want that peace of mind and they want to comfort themselves. And so I think an article just came out today about people drinking more, even more. Although I'm not quite sure how they measure that because they're going up by liquor sales from a liquor store as opposed to what about the bars? As you know, or may not know, I am in service industry and have been for a long time. And right now, we're closed. We're definitely closed here in New York, going on just over, let's see, be a month and a half. And by the time our May 15th comes around, that'll be 2 months. So, it's not like people aren't drinking, they're just, drinking at home. So, anyway, going back to addictions, I actually wanted to start off with the addiction of cell phones. So, what's happened today, in my opinion and my experience, is that people are addicted to their cell phones. I have so many apps on my phone that even when I'm doing good things, I'm still addicted to my phone. So I might use my phone for meditation. I might use it to do my gratitudes. I might use it to do my journaling. I use it to record my food. I could use it to exercise. So there's all these really good things. A vision board, affirmations. Oh my God, there's like a million really good things to have on my phone. But for some reason, it's very, very easy to slide right over into, okay, let's answer these texts. How many WhatsApp chats could I possibly be in? Emails, how many emails do I have? And when do I actually respond to these emails? And then I get behind and then I'm like, forget it. And then other people are OCD and they have to answer every single one of them or check off, they can't have that little mark on their phone. I'm the opposite of that. I have tons of unanswered things. But anyway, you get what I'm saying, that we are addicted to our phones. We don't go anywhere without them. Half of us sleep with our phones. And for the most part, then it becomes hard to unwind at night and to turn in. And so, that's definitely a huge problem. I, I, I think people are aware of it, but they don't really necessarily address it. I mean, you might see articles here and there, but it's really not, it's really not it's not addressed in the way that it actually should be. I know and then there's apps to tell you how much time you're spending on the phone. So you see it's one thing right after another. And really what we need to do is put the phone away. And I didn't even talk about social media. That's another addiction where people they get that fix. They have to check their Twitter, they have to check their Instagram, their Facebook, all these things. And you don't realize it until you like turn it off and turn your phone off, turn it down. I actually at one point in time had to take some of these apps off of my phone and only access them, when I'm on the computer or a different device. So it was really something else. And then another thing I was thinking about last week, somebody brought it to my attention that the addiction and the fix could also be about being busy. Those people. Those people. No, I'm talking about myself. The people like me who have to-do lists that are like never end. That's definitely one of mine. So it's like, why do I feel that I have to do all these things all the time? Like, am I, is that some feeling I'm trying to give myself importance, or that I have this feeling of that I need to do all these things, because I honestly don't. There's things that I need to do that I probably don't do, and there's probably a lot of things I do that I don't need to do. Anyway, to-do list has always been one of mine that I am probably addicted to in and of itself. So it's that feeling of always keeping busy and always having something to do, even when, like right now, one would think, oh, if you're unemployed right now during a lockdown time, you don't have time to do, you do have time to do all these things, but it's not like you have a to-do list that never ends. You could actually get some projects done. And I am getting projects done, but I'm just saying that this is something that's been brought to my attention as a possible addiction in and of itself. Now, back to the other ones. I wanted to really talk about food, alcohol, and shopping. And shopping would be now the new addiction of Amazon for those people that actually like Amazon. And, again, it's a fix now that they get you in that habit of getting a package every single day. And then when you don't get a package, you're like, oh my God, I need to go and order something. So I'm not saying that that's me, but, I can definitely relate. I've been there for sure. And now that I'm on lockdown, I'm not ordering from Amazon every single second, and that's a good thing. So that's an addiction. Shopping's an addiction. Alcohol, obviously, an addiction. I come from the alcohol business, so I could speak to that, but I'm really not going to right now. I'm going to speak more to food addiction. I think it's more prevalent now because a lot of people are home and they're becoming one with their refrigerator. Like they open the door, close the door, open the door, close the door. There's so many like jokes going around right now about it, and also not jokes. Like people, I call a lot of my friends, "Hi, how you doing?" They're like, yeah, good, but eating a lot because I'm home and or because I'm worried. There's emotional eating as well. And then there's people that don't eat because there's too much fear going on, or they have, a fear of what's going on globally, but also that fear of gaining weight and how they look and things like that. And again, that could go the gamut. Okay, it could be anything from disorders like anorexia, bulimia. It could be overeating. It could be over exercising. It could be just emotional eating. There's really so many components to it. And when I happen to be watching this week or listening to the Food Revolution Summit, which I love, is my favorite of all summits. And they're finally starting in the last year or so to have speakers that talk to food addiction, because it's all about being healthier food, healthier living, healthier. They talk about the mind, behavior, what's good for the brain, gut, all of that. And they're finally now starting to address addiction, which is great. So I've been following a lot of these food guru kind of people for a decade at least. And I used to always say to myself, gosh, they're talking about all these things, we could get into the food combinations and all that. And I'm thinking, that's all good for the person who is that logical and could take all that and apply it, not just apply it for a month, a week, a couple of weeks, a month, or even a year, a couple of years. But, for a lifestyle change, you want to implement that, you want to keep that going. So what I always say to myself is that they just don't get it. They don't get the mind that has some compulsive type of thinking. So all of that knowledge is all well and good if I was a rational person and a person of moderation and all of those things, then that would be great. Then I can apply all those things. And I can apply them sometimes, but there's also that other gnawing thought, like in the back of my head sometimes. I'm going to use myself as an example of, the fact that sometimes it's just not about the knowledge, it's about the behaviors and what what is behind addictions and what leads people into a certain way of thinking along the lines of what they need. Because again, you could tell me, and I already know because I've been studying it for years. I know the foods that are healthy and things like that. But then sometimes I might get addicted to certain foods and I just want them. And any knowledge in the world is not going to really stop me if that's the case. And so I do believe it's important. With holistic health to take a look at things that you might be addicted to. And coffee's another addiction, smoking's another one. We could go on and on. There are many. Um, but mostly, I'm going to come back again to food and say that, again, it takes a whole wellness program where you look at different phases of your life and you see where the satisfaction level is on all of those, and then you give that attention. So it might not just be about the actual food. It might be about, well, how is my life as far as my relationships? How's my life as far as my work? How is my financial life? How is my creativity? And so on and so on. So it's taking a look at the big picture and also clearing out things, hurts from the past, and learning to let them go and having a support system in place. So not a easy topic to address, but it's just one worth mentioning in this 30 days of helpful, hopefully helpful tips and suggestions. So it's taking a look and being honest with ourselves that what might we have an addictional tendency to. That's it.